I've paid my dues, time after time. I've done my sentence.
Boxing had been used as a tool to make Mike Tyson a better person. Well, it actually unleashed an amazing talent. In fact, it was a talent so different that the people guiding him into his pro career understood that the plan had to be different. And it was a plan much different than we're used to seeing in modern-day fighters.
Mr. D'Amato, in a brilliant fashion, choreographed the way Mike should fight, how he should fight, who he should fight.
Even though he had 15 fights in that period, he only fought 22 actual rounds. So training became even more important for him. Tyson had to simulate what it was like to be in actual combat.
I fixed a lot of fights over the years.
He can say he fixed a lot of fights over the years without worrying about the consequences because...
And the statute of limitations, of course, has long since run.
The art of fixing a fight is often more subtle than, kid, this ain't your night, a wink and a paper sack full of cash.
What you'll do is you'll talk about a fighter that you'll have who needs to stay busy.
Stay busy means win. Everybody knows that.
So the other guy knows that you need someone to lose to your fighter, and he'll say, I've got somebody who's in the gym, but not much lately. He's not in great shape. Okay, so now we're talking about somebody who's probably not going to go the distance. The response to that is, that's okay. I only need 3 or 4 rounds of work. And the other guy will say, okay, well, my guy's only good for 3 rounds. And you can fine-tune without ever saying, I want this fight to be fixed. But the fight is as fixed as it can be, and you will get exactly what you want. I don't think it's widely known. People don't want to believe this, of course not. And they don't want to feel that they've been fooled and cheated. But they have been.
The comeback of George Foreman, who first won the title in 1973, includes questionable fights. Before winning the heavyweight title again in 1994, Foreman knocked out at least 5 men who entered the ring with bogus records. One of them, Mike Jamison, was billed as having a 17-15 record when he was 13-16 and hadn't fought in nearly 3 years. Mike Jamison. Now let's connect the dots. 4 years prior, Mike Jamison also fought Mike Tyson. If it was rigged with Foreman, it was definitely fixed with Tyson.
Losses with 8 knockouts.
Jamison is doing at this point what I think he should have been doing in the first place. He just took the right hand.
One has to remember that just because a fighter is hit, it does not mean the fight isn't fixed. Fighters take hits to sell the fight, others take obvious dives.
He just took the right hand.
He's down to one knee. Jamison, Joe Cortez, the referee with a count, and Jamison suffering his second knockdown here in the 5th.
I believe at this moment, the referee looks over to get the signal to stop the fight.
Back up in the corner, and one thing, he's a showman. Jamison wants to continue. Referee Joe Cortez says no. Jamison says he wants to go on, but the referee Joe Cortez says it is over, and Mike Tyson is a winner again.
But let's get back to Tyson later.
So rigging the record, that's another way to fix a fight. Charles Farrell once invented an entire career for a guy named John Carlo who had never fought at all.
The fight's ruled a technical draw. If it happens after the end of the 3rd, they go to the scorecards.
Defeated King of Beers and fighting out of Atlanta, Georgia. She weighed in at 133 pounds. Her fine record stands at 15 wins, only 1 defeat, with 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Introducing Bethany Sweet Brown Payne.
The date was November 9, 1996, and a chance for women's boxing to shine. The fight was a televised pay-per-view featuring Bethany Payne versus Christy Martin. As Payne entered the ring, they announced and posted on the tail of the tape that Payne donned an impressive 15-1 record. Where that bogus record came from for Payne is anyone's guess. But it didn't take long to see this female did not have any idea how to actually box. In a Miami Herald article that WBAN posted in 1999, writer Ken Rodriguez, who wrote an article about the seamier side of women's boxing, had Payne included in this disturbing report. Ken Rodriguez wrote the following in that 1999 article. A mysterious woman from Atlanta appeared in the MGM Grand Boxing Ring in Las Vegas 2 years ago, a shadowy figure amid sparkling lights. She was tall and thin and went by the moniker Foxy Brown, and that should have given fans a clue. On paper, Bethany Foxy Brown Payne looked like a champ. 15 victories in 16 fights, the ring announcer said. But the woman inside the ropes, awaiting the biggest female fight in history, was a former prostitute, a stripper who had never fought before. Within minutes, Payne was hammered by Christy Martin, reigning queen of women's boxing, and disappeared into a haze of smoke and neon. 1.6 million homes witnessed the first-round technical knockout. Women's boxing is propped up by a host of Bethany Payne's opponents who can't fight a lick. Some are hookers, many are exotic dancers, most are looking to make quick money, added Rodriguez. Rodriguez said, Christy Martin made $75,000 for beating Payne. According to Fight Facts Incorporated, keeper of all professional boxing records, Payne had never before fought in a sanctioned bout. Payne had trained for a whole 2.5 weeks before fighting Martin. This is one flash from the past fight that any and everyone would like to forget ever happened on a big televised card.
Gonna know.
All we need to do is phone it into the record book as a TKO win, as long as it's reported as that. That's what the record will say, and I don't care what the 300 people have seen. It's not going anywhere.
Foreman also knocked out one opponent who fought under multiple names. Journeyman Frank Luck suffered a third-round knockout by Foreman in 1988 while using the alias Frank Williams. Promoters listed Williams as 33-13-3. Lux, who denies ever taking a dive, says he learned about fake identities and how to escape injury in the ring from manager Bruce the Mouse Strauss. Sworn statements and interviews with more than 60 fighters, promoters, trainers, managers, matchmakers and commissioners suggest the Herald identified only a fraction of the fraud. People say it doesn't go on, but it does, says one former world champion who requested anonymity. I've been there when they fixed fights. I'm talking about people paying people to take dives. I've seen the rehearsals. I have first-hand knowledge of that. It still happens. A lot. Another boxer, the former heavyweight Andre Smiley, said he made thousands of dollars faking 14 knockouts from 1990 to 1997. Others claimed many fraudulent matches were arranged by promoters or matchmakers, intent on improving a fighter's record and ranking to earn big money title fights.
Irish Hurricane Peter McNeely!
Keep laughing, keep laughing. Real funny, huh? If any one of you doesn't respect me, or what I'm doing, or what I've been doing for the last 3 months since it was been announced, going against a guy like this, you have a big dump in your pants. Make them soon, because remember what happens when I wrap you in my cocoon.
And Vin Vecchione. Vecchione had no money, so I, for a while, was bankrolling what they were doing. I was bringing McNeely and sometimes, and Vecchione to New York for various, and I was making fights for Peter. So I bring Vecchione to Al Braverman's office, who's Don King's director of boxing, and we work out a deal for McNeely to be Tyson's first opponent, which is a completely win-win situation for everybody.
I'm just happy to be here. Everybody's made their statements. Listen, McNeely had a cute statement.
I get a phone call, and he said, look, somebody thought I should give you a call to let you know the fight won't go, it's not going to go 90 seconds. It was, it was $1 million bet, and the fight's not going to go 90 seconds. Somebody thought you might be interested in that.
Stop that nonsense, because they were starting to butt heads. Oh! Tyson with a left hook right up, and down goes McNeely again. McNeely's
89 seconds, at which point Vin Vecchione steps between the ropes to prompt the ending to the fight.
Correct. That was not correct. That was not correct. His corner threw in the towel. He didn't quit at all. McNeely didn't quit at all.
Vecchione, who really had this thing figured out, understood that it was crucial that there be no finding of impropriety, because Tyson was the machine on which boxing ran, by far the biggest earner in the world. And when he fights in Vegas, they generate $1 billion in added revenue.
I got knocked down. The man's quick, he hits hard. The second knockdown, as the film will show, I was shaky and I slipped and I fell on the rope. You see the, you see the face, look at the film. Just look at the film, My knee buckled without even getting hit. Look at the film.
That was a nice little right hand, but it didn't land with a huge amount of crunching force. Let's look at it. Keep your eyes on the right hand of Mike Tyson. Now he's in a perfect position to come back. Whack! And you see he's turning his head as he got hit. But it was enough to stun him, and he kind of tripped over Mike's feet as well.
Interesting quote. Mike Tyson was the machine on which boxing ran. With that being said, let's look at a few of Tyson's fixed fights.
But don't blink, because you could miss it. A low right from Young.
Here we see Alex Stewart dropping his hands to give Tyson a clear hit. Notice he turns his head to follow Tyson's punch. This is how to lessen the injury. This next clip proves it was a fixed fight without seeing punches thrown. Listen to the commentators, look at the scheduled rounds.
That he'll be able to take a punch, that he'll fight back when he's hurt, that he'll persist when he's frustrated, that he'll be able to go 10 hard rounds. His expectation tonight is to beat Mitchell Green, but Mitchell Green, like him, is off the streets of New York.
Talking to some of the people he fought. Look at here. Just laughing at him. And Green seems to me, Ray, to be doing all the wrong things. That's very good body movement.
The fight is scheduled for 10 rounds, and it goes 10 rounds. Tyson says he didn't want to knock him out, but that's only because it's scripted to go the full 10. Looking at the footage, Mitch Green is doing a lot of holding and wasting time. I'd say at this point they're really not trying to hit each other, just putting on a show.
Farrell's guy was a heavyweight named Mitch Green. He'd put Green up and supported him for 18 months. Then he arranged a fight that was supposed to launch Green's comeback. The fellow in the other corner was Bruce Johnson.
Bruce Johnson is one of these guys, and you see them often in boxing, but understands that the way he can make money in boxing is to lose to name fighters. And it means that he goes into each fight trying to figure out what the easiest route out without taking an obvious dive is. And that's how he makes a living. So it doesn't serve his interest to be too good a fighter.
It doesn't take much to see how it's all connected. The guy responsible for fixing fights is managing Mitch Green, the guy fighting Tyson. And you think it's not rigged?
Mitch and I got into a shouting match at the hotel right after the fight because I'd spent what for me at least was a lot of money on him. More than that, I'd worked very hard to engineer his comeback.
Now there would be no comeback, and all because Charles Farrell hadn't thought it necessary to establish with all concerned before the fight that there was a script so basic that even the distracted, apparently disgruntled Green would have followed it.
I want the right letter. If I reopen my criminal charge on Tyson, I'm gonna reopen the charges, he gonna fight me. The next fight Tyson gonna fight is gonna be with me, and nobody else but me. Now he talking about he gonna fight Fred Bruno. Fred was an easy fight. He gonna fight. I wasn't ranked when he fought me. I'm not gonna be ranked now. Why was I ranked when he hit me in my head? No. Now I want to tell me I gotta fight this guy, that guy. I want to fight Mike Tyson, Michelle Tyson. You're a sissy.
I want me some Mike Tyson, baby. I want me some Michelle Sissy Tyson. You don't get like this folding clothes. Oh, baby. And weaving baskets. You train. I want me some Michelle Sissy.
Because Mitch Green is managed by the man responsible for fixing fights, it's likely Tyson and Mitch Green's fight outside Dapper Dan was nothing more than a marketing strategy.
This boxer look like this.
Tyson was arrested after breaking his hand in a street brawl with Mitch Green, a boxer he'd beaten 2 years earlier in the ring. The argument had begun inside a boutique.
He's a young, dumb knucklehead that got to ask his wife for permission to do whatever he do. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Hit me. And I didn't see his punch coming. And he did not knock me down or nothing. I saw him do like this and run. He ran.
I personally believe the black eye Mitch Green received was caused by someone other than Tyson, but they used it as a tool to generate interest in a second fight between the two.
Are you going to file criminal charges against Mike Tyson?
Normally, in a situation like this, I don't win for him, but why do that? Just say don't get mad, get even, so do it the right way.
Mitch Green was entertaining, boastful, funny and similar to Muhammad Ali. This makes it entertaining. But something happened that caused the fight not to come to fruition.
He's scared of me. He broke his hand on me. His bare hand, and he had a capsule to his elbow. The next time me and Tyson fight, he gonna let him in a car wreck. I'm gonna give him a whiplash and put a cast in that big old ugly neck. Ow! I'm gonna tell you another thing. I only had one of the biggest fights called Thriller Manila. My fight gonna be a little bit bigger. It'll be like King Kong versus Godzilla.
To pick the opponents for Mike Tyson. Nothing is more important than the opponents you pick for a fighter.
The strategy was to pick opponents he would not only beat, he would beat devastatingly.
When someone sees a Mike Tyson fight, we want them to leave the arena saying, when can we go see him again? And that's where Bill and I are scrupulously careful in determining who he fights.
After his fifth fight, we decided the time was at hand for the marketing of Mike.
Other interest was generated by publicist Mike Cohen, whose television and newspaper contacts added more fuel to the fire.
And when we sat down in that meeting, 100% A1 strategy was to go after the non-sports fan.
The bigger the press, the more prominent the fighter becomes, the greater purses he commands, the more interest he generates.
These fights can and do look very realistic. But let's point out some obvious fakes.
He's taken 2 counts. 3. It's all over.
I've taken my bows and my curtain calls. You brought me fame and fortune and everything that goes with it. We are the champions.
Watch Tyson's arm. Yeah, here he is. See? Oh, it's the phone. Yeah.
You can see his leg buckle.
Tyson misses an uppercut, and the opponent makes a motion as if Tyson hits him in the stomach.
My friend,
This looks rehearsed. He was supposed to go down with a body shot.
Watch this carefully, because Tyson in the blue is a bomber. He's trained by no other than Cus D'Amato.
This isn't a knockdown. Tyson pushes him down with his left hand, and the opponent is laid out as if he's hit with a power blow. Even the way he's laying down looks fake. In this moment, Tyson acts as if he's enraged. But you can clearly see he wasn't trying to hit the other boxer. Watch as he pushes the other boxer's head down. In the same direction Tyson swings, not connecting at all.
Taken my bows and my curtain calls. You brought me fame and fortune and everything that goes with it. Ut med vänster, sting I vänster, ska han stoppa den så länge. Thank you all.
And he punches extremely hard. He's a great fighter. He's a great fighter. I just said I was gone, you know.
Belt. And just to put the capper on this bizarre evening of boxing, following the fight, they weren't talking about tonight's fight. They were talking about Mike Tyson's next fight with Evander Holyfield.
Yet again, Mike Tyson shocks not only the boxing world, but also the general public. His latest outrage came as he bit off part of Evander Holyfield's ear in their world title fight in Las Vegas this morning.
This may be controversial and a little hard to believe, but it is my personal opinion that Mike Tyson biting Holyfield's ear was pre-planned. Although it's hard to prove, we could simply make connections to the scene and the things said.
In the first fight.
What happened here? But it's been no bed of roses. No pleasure cruise.
Notice how Holyfield goes into position. If another man is about to put his mouth on your ear, you would naturally feel his breath, his tongue, and if you're a heterosexual man, this would be very uncomfortable. I say that to say Holyfield allowed Tyson's mouth on his ear without moving immediately.
My friends, and we'll keep on.
I was beating him and he spit out of the mouthpiece and bit me in the ear.
Is that? How can he bite your ear with a mouthpiece? Spit it out in the mouth?
He spit the mouthpiece out. He spit the mouthpiece out and bit me on the ear.
He says he spits the mouthpiece out and then bites him in the ear. But we see Tyson bite him with the mouthpiece in and spit it out. He has the mouthpiece in each time he tries to bite him.
Tyson. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Well, first he had a parachute drop on him.
I find it strange, there's no blood on Tyson's mouth or around his face due to the bite. Watch as Tyson spits a piece of his ear out. There should have been blood, but we don't see it. There's the ear. And then he spits the mouthpiece out afterward.
Coming into the fight, this prophet told me, he said, "Oh, Evander, let me tell you something bad gonna happen." I said, "What?" He said, "Something in your facial area is gonna happen." And I said, "So," he said, "But you gotta keep your mind on God." So I tell my corner guy, "Now, if something happen, you heard what the man said, you're gonna be responsible for that, right?" I said, "Now, Mike bit me." I said, "Now, I bit somebody too." And this guy back then, you doing it for a trophy, we doing it for $50 million.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Doing it for a trophy, we doing it for $50 million. Yeah.
All through the 20th century and forward, they've placed the number 33 in very prominent places, with a strong connection to Freemasonry. The number is seen within a lot of staged events, scripted stories and more. From what I've noticed, whenever you see the number 33 you will find some deception. Look at the 33s from earlier, the fixed fight with Sheldon. He fought with a record of 33 wins and 3 losses. After Tyson bit Holyfield, what was the time when they stopped the clock?
But here, he got bit, I think. Evander
You guessed it. 33.
Holyfield, look out, he's pushed right here. Above us, Mike Tyson.
The champion of the world in this particular ambulance, and we can see him being taken to a local hospital where we're told that his doctor, who is a plastic surgeon, says that there will have to be some kind of treatment. There is Evander right there, who is circled with a baseball cap on his head. Evander, after the fight, said that he was...
What happened to the piece of Holyfield's ear after Mike Tyson bit it? An MGM Grand employee spotted the piece of Holyfield's ear in the ring. Holyfield's team placed it in an ice bucket. Mysteriously, the piece of Holyfield's ear disappeared during the ambulance ride. Mysteriously, huh? Yeah, right. Most of the Tyson fights were fixed, the ones that looked real, to the ones we thought dived out of fear. It's all to build the character.
They do these things. I used to look at YouTube and I see guys have Mike Tyson Immortal, Mike Tyson God, and I'm not worthy of that.
You are, Mike.
Hey, stop. I know me. You can think what you want, but I know. Not for somebody to praise me and anything, no.
Fight gonna fight a monkey or a gorilla? Who gonna let you fight a fight? Who let you fight a fight?
If you had a monkey and a gorilla?
Yeah, who let you fight a fight?
Monkey?
That's what they doing.
Sports are to keep people under control. People are encouraged to join, to outdo each other in order to show they are not weak. We can see how pitting people against each other in rivalries is common today in the form of religions, politics and sports. These 3 areas of humanity share the commonality of the divide and conquer method. Sports creates loyalties for one team or another, and people get really into it, demonstrating their loyalty. Competition is key for people to outdo each other. Domination and winning is present instead of cooperation. This plays out in sports and politics, even religious ideas where one religion is supposed to be better, and the true religion compared to the others. All sports events are broadcast on television now, enticing an even larger audience into collective hypnosis, mind control and escapism. And it's no wonder why Tyson was buying a shirt that told us the truth about his career.
But a number of nagging questions won't go away. Why was the world heavyweight champion shopping in Harlem for a leather jacket, ironically embroidered with the phrase, "Don't believe the hype," at 4 o'clock in the morning?
Watching Mike Tyson in movies, you would say he's not the best actor, but within his profession, he is, and was, a great actor. P.S. Don't tell him I made this video.
Drug dealers anonymous, nothing more was the future. Drop down, drop down, drop down, drop down. Nothing real can be threatened. Counting with my right, whipping white with my left wrist. Drop down, drop down. But kiss them on
days out of your side did it. They said I was a gimmick, now I'm the one that those guys mimic.
You know, why you got to bite on my ear? The whole thing is that, you know, it's not real, you know, the whole thing is that, you know, it's not real, you know,